Who is responsible for the mess that is Disney Star Wars? Well, that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sector for Nerds. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, click that hype button, stay tuned for the movie podcast that's going to be coming soon, and so much other great content here every single week. Nothing that you guys want to miss out on. So where did this all start? So I remember last week, the reports that came out about this Adam Driver Star Wars movie about like Ben Solo, how it was going to take place post Rise of Skywalker, somehow him returning from the dead, somehow Palpatine returned, somehow Ben Solo returned, it was going to be something like that. And at the time when that story came out, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, I really don't care. The sequel trilogy is just like a major mess. Like, there was no real planning that went into it. No long-term story throughout. It was just, they were just booking it movie to movie with no end goal in mind. I don't even have to tell you that. It's easy to see when you're watching through that trilogy. And then some interesting reports started coming out. And I don't know if this part was from Den of Nerds, though. So that I might have to be corrected on. But someone was out there saying like, oh, the reason why this movie didn't come out has nothing to do with Kathleen Kennedy or Dave Filoni or anybody that works at Lucasfilm and has everything to do with Bob Iger and Disney. And again, like I'm still sitting there throughout this whole thing. Like, honestly, I really don't care. Disney Star Wars, it's been a mess over the last couple of years. Like, at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad that this Ben Solo movie didn't come out. And then all of a sudden, a few days ago, Josh from Den of Nerds, and by the way, I'm a fan of Josh from Den of Nerds. I've got nothing against him. I check out a lot of his videos. I'll check out some of his live streams here and there, so hold nothing against him. He comes out with this video here. I owe Kathleen Kennedy an apology. And initially I was like, okay, like nice troll there, dude. Very funny. And then I watched the video and I was like, oh, wait, no, like he's actually apologizing to Kathleen Kennedy. And there's a whole multitude of reasons for it, and we're going to go over it right now with this article here. It's an article here from the Geeks and Gamers website, Rumor. Den of Nerds source says Disney CEO Bob Iger intentionally made Kathleen Kennedy the scapegoat for Star Wars. We begin. The Den of Nerds has heard from a source that Bob Iger made Kathleen Kennedy his Star Wars scapegoat, with the Disney CEO behind many of Lucasfilm's failings. You can watch the whole video right here, which we will not be doing today. The video first reminds viewers of that Ben Solo / Kylo Ren movie from Steven Soderbergh that Adam Driver said Bob Iger nuked. And they've got one of Josh's tweets up right here. I'm about to get the tea on this mother effer, Bob Iger. If anyone else wants to hit me up with info, DMs are open. Josh then reveals information he got from a source, and while he qualifies that this is not official and that he has no firsthand knowledge, he also says that this person is the best and most plugged-in source Josh has, one who has given him accurate information in the past. And that source told Josh that much of what is common knowledge about Kathleen Kennedy and the decisions made since Disney bought Lucasfilm is not exactly correct. To begin, Bob Iger does not like George Lucas or the prequel trilogy. And 100% I can totally see that, because when you look at the, what happened when Disney had purchased Star Wars, right? Like, it felt for the longest time that they were ignoring the prequel trilogy, right? Like, everything was either about like their new trilogy or the original trilogy. Clone Wars was canceled. So if we're going to sit here and say that like Bob Iger is the reason why Clone Wars is canceled, like I could totally see that being a thing. And what do I always say, right? Like, thanks for that, Disney, for canceling the Clone Wars. And obviously Bob Iger being the head of that did nothing to stop it from happening, but he could also be the sole reason why it did happen. He could have been the person that made the decision himself. And if I keep reading here, that being the case, Bob Iger wanted to cancel the Clone Wars animated series in the prequel era. Kathleen Kennedy wanted to let the show continue and had to fight tooth and nail for the truncated final season she ended up getting, which was not how Dave Filoni wanted to end the series. Filoni's original plan was to adapt the Darth Maul novel, Son of Dathomir, which pitted Maul against City... And Bob Iger said no. You son of a bitch. Now, we do have to correct something here in this article. The Son of Dathomir was not a novel, it was a comic. I will also say this. To say that Kathleen Kennedy is not at fault for this, I don't know if I can fully get on board with that. Now, I understand that Bob Iger is the head of Disney, right? So, like, anything that he says goes. Disney purchased Star Wars, like, I get that. But I also don't know how much I believe that, like, Kathleen Kennedy cared about the Clone Wars. And I think the only reason why it came back is because A, they needed something for Disney Plus, right? Like the new streaming service that they had coming up. It's like, oh shoot, we need content for this. Bring back the Clone Wars. But they didn't want to like fully commit to it either, right? But they knew they were going to be doing the Bad Batch show, like a new animated series. They were like, okay, well, we can set up like Bad Batch stuff in this. Because that's what like a third of the Clone Wars season 7 was, right? Was the Bad Batch story. Anybody that had anything to do with the Clone Wars getting canceled, like I don't care if it was Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, I will always have resentment for those people for doing that. I know for them it was like another day in their lives and they thought nothing of it afterward, but like for people like me who like loved the show and cared about the show and found escapism in that show, that freaking upset me. But that is interesting though that, you know, according to Josh's source, and again, we don't know if this is accurate information, but the idea that like they were gonna put the son of Dathomir in the final season. You know what? If you think about the last season of the Clone Wars, right? Like what did they do? They did an arc about Ahsoka, an arc about Rex, and the final arc was the two of them coming together, right? That would have fit in quite well if it would have been like an arc about Ahsoka, an arc about Rex, and an arc about Maul, and the final arc is all of them coming together. That actually would have been really intriguing, apart from the fact that I just would have really wanted to see Son of Dathomir. Okay, let's get further into this. Another idea that is completely Iger is turning the 4th season of The Mandalorian into the upcoming film, The Mandalorian and Grogu, because he wanted a Star Wars movie in theaters. The 4th season, which had some scripts that were completely done, would have heavily featured Boba Fett and would have repaired his character following his appearance on the Book of Boba Fett, which was not well received. Also, the source tells Josh that Din Djarin, the Mandalorian played by Pedro Pascal, has his helmet off in the movie for about 10 minutes, which violates his beliefs. I will say on this right here, I think I can understand perhaps why Bob Iger would want to turn The Mandalorian 4th season into a movie, in the sense that for him, he looks at it as like, oh, people love The Mandalorian, people love Grogu, let's put this on screen and let's make some money off of it. Because, like, let's remember, guys, like with Disney Plus and stuff, like they're not making any money off these shows. Streaming is not the profitable thing that everybody thought it was. What I don't think Bob Iger understands, if this is true, that if you look at Mando Season 3, a lot of people didn't like it. I definitely thought it was the worst season of the show. I think in the end, like, it was okay, but it was nowhere near the level of good as the first 2 seasons. If you would have done a Mandalorian movie, and I know I'm not the first person to say this, if you would have done a Mando movie after the first 2 seasons, that movie would have been popping. You know what I'm saying? Like, that people would have loved that. I don't think people care anymore. I think so many people have walked away from Disney Star Wars because they just don't care. The material that we've been given, the Disney Plus shows and stuff, not all of them have lived up to all that they could be, and all the agenda-driven stuff that people have been feeling like they've had shoved down their throats over the past decade, like, people are done with it. So I don't think that the Mando movie in theaters is going to make as much money as it would have had they had just done it like immediately after season 2. And if they wouldn't have just put Mando and Grogu back together again, like immediately. And reportedly, that was a Kathleen decision to have Mando and Grogu back on screen together again. So again, to say that like, oh, all of this isn't Kathleen Kennedy's fault, I don't know if I can believe it. Iger, along with his temporary successor, Bob Chapek, also stopped Obi-Wan Kenobi from being made as a movie and turned into a Disney Plus show with a smaller budget. Okay, so wait a second. We've got one example here of them turning a television show into a movie and a movie into a television show. I don't know if this is making sense here. Iger was also responsible for The Rise of Skywalker, bringing J.J. Abrams back for the final film in the sequel trilogy. Iger then refused to delay the film, ending production 3 months early so that The Rise of Skywalker could make its release date. In fact, Iger's fingerprints were apparently all over the sequel trilogy, particularly in the treatment of Luke Skywalker, the original trilogy's hero. Kathleen Kennedy, according to this source's report, wanted Rey and Luke to be the primary focus of the sequel trilogy. Iger wanted to get rid of the Skywalkers and make Luke a bad mentor to Rey. We're at a point now in Disney Star Wars where, like, the biggest stories are, well, who's to blame for this? Who's to blame for that? Like, that's how bad we've gotten here. Like, the fact that this is even a story right now to me is, like, actually insane. We're not sitting here talking about, like, oh, what great movie they just came out or what good television show they just came out with. It's, no, Star Wars has been so bad over the past couple years, and in some ways, since the Disney acquisition, that it's like, well, okay, it's this person's fault, or it's this person's fault, or that person's fault. Like, what are we doing here? The source's report also says that Bob Iger put a stop to a Darth Bane series and an Old Republic movie trilogy. Kathleen Kennedy reportedly wanted to keep George Lucas' original sequel scripts, but Iger threw them out, leading to a great deal of tension between the two. And again, this is nothing against Josh. And I don't know who his source is. I don't know nothing. Kathleen Kennedy herself has publicly gone out there and said that we have no source material to go off of, which is 100% completely false. I don't know if I can get on board with, like, oh, we were all wrong about Kathleen Kennedy and she's actually this really great person that's defending Star Wars or has tried to defend Star Wars and failed. Like, I'm not buying it. Many of these decisions were made for motives typically ascribed to Kathleen Kennedy. Iger wanted Star Wars to become Disney version rather than George Lucas. That I can believe. Removing Luke as the saga's central hero and turning Rey, the Disney character, into the protagonist. This gels with the sequels essentially underdoing Luke's accomplishments and goals, and those of other characters from the original trilogy, and then handing them to Rey. Something about all this just smells fishy. Again, I got nothing but respect for Josh from Den of Nerds. I think he's one of the only people out there that I know has the same opinions about Andor as I do. I feel like him and I are, like, kind of in the minority about that. Nothing but respect. I don't know how much I can believe that Kathleen Kennedy has had nothing to do with how bad Disney Star Wars is when she is the president of Lucasfilm. By the way, this is not me defending Bob Iger, okay? I got no love for Bob Iger at all. He is the president of Disney, a man who I feel like at the end of the day has just been known for buying up all these IPs, right? Like Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and all of them have turned out worse for it. Pixar started out really good. What's happened in, like, the past, like, 7 or 8 years with Pixar? Like, most of their movies, like, no interest, nothing. Look at the MCU. Started out really great. What happened after Endgame? It all just went downhill. Star Wars. Everyone was excited about Star Wars. I think Star Wars was the quickest one to start going downhill for a lot of people. But the point is, like, Bob Iger is the president of Disney, and whether he was directly involved with how bad these IPs got or not, he's the freaking president of all of this. Surely, if you saw the direction that a lot of these franchises were going in, you would think to maybe stop it and make some creative changes. No, but you didn't, Bob, did you? You have continued to go down the path that you have gone down, and now we're here trying to debate whose fault it is that Disney Star Wars is bad. And this is coming from a Star Wars fan who I think maybe likes a little bit more of the Star Wars in the Disney Star Wars bubble than most people. But I tell you what, though, if you go back and watch my videos from the last couple of years, you guys will have seen my thoughts on things like Skeleton Crew, like The Acolyte, like Andor, Tales of the Empire. All of these projects I did not like. The way that I feel about Disney Star Wars right now, there are people that feel so much worse about it than I do. People resented Disney Star Wars the moment it was bought, the moment that they got rid of all the EU stuff. All the EU fans got so mad. And then all the Clone Wars fans got so mad because they immediately canceled that. And it's like, well, you wonder why you've made so many enemies. It's so ridiculous, the place that we are right now. One of the things that I hope to talk about with my friend DJ in the movie podcast as well that we're going to be doing is just like, how in my opinion, like how terrible the industry has gotten in the 2020s. There's not much creativity anymore. Again, Bob Iger's hands are not clean in this by any means. I have no love for the guy. But to sit there and say that Kathleen Kennedy's hands are completely clean in this, that all she is a scapegoat, I don't know if I can believe that. We need more creative people back in the entertainment industry. That's where I hope we're going with like the 2030s and stuff, because these 2020s, the entertainment industry for the most part has just been dog crap. All right, you guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. You guys got to let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this story. Who do you think's at fault for what's going on with Disney Star Wars? Do you think it's Kathleen Kennedy? Do you think it's Bob Iger? Do you think it's a collection of people? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. That is going to wrap us up for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.